Hello and welcome to another video. And today's custom budget PC is fitted into this Zalman Z1 Iceberg PC case. A pretty neat looking case, and despite having a solid front panel, there are two vents on either side that do provide some airflow. And you'll see later on in the gaming test that it was actually more than adequate. The glass side panel offers a really good look inside the case, but let's open it up anyways because it's so easy to do so, being on hinges. Underneath this Thermalright Assassin Spirit V2 CPU cooler, there's a AMD Ryzen 5 5600X CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads. Beside that, with its fitting white heatsinks, is 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3600 MHz Timetec Pinnacle Konduit RAM. And the card we have today is something I'm kind of excited about testing out. It's a Sapphire Radeon RX 6800 with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. This version of the card has a fairly beefy heatsink, and although I don't find it totally heavy, we did have some sag happening, so I stuck this GPU stand in that's sitting on top of the hard drive enclosure. And the system is packed onto an MSI Pro B550M-VC Wi-Fi motherboard. It's a healthy reminder to not consume the CMOS battery. This is a pretty solid choice in motherboards. It features some extra heat sinks on the VRMs and some extra fan headers, as well as some other features that I'll go over in just a moment. Underneath this black heatsink here, we have Windows 11 Pro installed on a Timetec MS09 512GB NVMe solid state drive. And here's what they look like, running at PCIe 3x4 speeds. For extra storage, I also threw in a 500GB Toshiba 2.5-inch hard drive. The rear I/O of the motherboard has some nice features, including this flash BIOS button, some display ports that we won't be using with the 5600X CPU. These two red USB ports are USB 3.0 Gen 2, while the two blue are USB 3.2 Gen 1. Also, we have 2x USB 2.0, a mouse and keyboard PS2 port, RJ45 Ethernet port, audio in and out. And you can see here we have two antennas attached to the Wi-Fi card, which is a AMD RZ608 Wi-Fi 6 card that also features Bluetooth 5.2. As for the graphics card, we have 1x HDMI 2.1 and 3x DisplayPort 1.4a. And powering it all is this Corsair RM750 750-watt modular power supply. The top I/O on the PC case also features 2x USB 3.0, 1x USB 2.0, microphone and headphone jacks, reset button, power button. I believe this PC case shipped with a white dust panel, but this is a used case that came to me that I cleaned up and repurposed, and the dust filter was missing, so I cut a custom one out of some black material that I had, put some magnets on it, and it's looking pretty good. For cooling, we have two 120mm white air intake fans and one 120mm air exhaust fan. Now that we know a bit about the hardware, let's check out the video render and video encoding results. Now for some tests, I have DaVinci Resolve 19 loaded up with my usual 11 minutes of raw 1080p footage. Let's see how long this one takes to render. By the way, I used these settings, and it looks like we finished up in 2 minutes and 53 seconds. The last time we tested out a 5600X, we were at 2 minutes and 57 seconds, and that was paired with a 3070 Ti. Paired with the RX 6800, we're at 2 minutes and 53 seconds, 4 seconds faster. And now Handbrake is loaded up with 11 minutes of 1080p gaming footage, and we've selected Creator 1080p for a preset, Creator 1080p 60 that is. And this time we're just measuring raw CPU power. Let's see if this combination of hardware makes any difference at all. Looks like we're finishing up in 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And that's interesting because the last time we tested it out, we had 3 minutes and 5 seconds, a 1 second difference. And way up here, matched with a RTX 3070, we had 3 minutes and 2 seconds. So there is a 2-second difference between our results, which is of course very minor, but it's kind of interesting seeing all the information laid out like this. Now we'll be testing out the RX 6800 and seeing what results we get. And we finish up in 50 seconds. I'm pretty pleased with those results. I think 50 seconds is very fast. And what's interesting is the last 5600X combo with the 3070 Ti came out 1 second faster. The 3070 Ti having 8GB of GDDR6 memory, and the 6800 having 16GB of GDDR6 memory, yet we're still seeing a little bit faster speeds with the 3070 Ti. Of course, results may vary, and let me know in the comments if they did for you. No doubt that the 3070 Ti is an excellent card, but I did have slightly higher hopes for the 6800. Maybe the XT version would have better results. Not at all saying that these are bad, that's actually quite good. And now onto the gameplay. I'm really impressed with how this 6800 held up. I found it to be a very high performing GPU, and it definitely met and exceeded my expectations. So if you're using a setup like this in 2024, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it and hear how it's going for you. With that said, let's transition to the gameplay, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.